What's up, everybody? It's your boy back with another reaction video. Now I'll be reacting to 3 spine-tingling true abandoned building horror stories. I believe this is from Nightmare Files, if I'm not mistaken. I want to keep charging my phone. I don't think the charger gonna let me. It might not. So I get to take it out. I'll give me another camera. I was gonna get one. That's this month. But I said I'd wait till next month to get one. I wasn't recording anything. Like, it's the first time I've actually reacted to anything in weeks. I've been editing stuff from like some of the TV shows I reacted, like Lucifer, Harley Quinn, and Castlevania. Stuff I've already reacted to. And I'm just editing it out because I haven't watched an episode of Lucifer in weeks. I haven't watched Harley Quinn. I need to finish that. I actually still have some of that left to actually watch. And the Castlevania I finished that a while ago. I just need to edit those. But anyway, I kind of wanted to do some scary reactions. You know, kind of scare myself a little bit, if that's possible. You know, I'm a man, so it's hard to scare me. So unless you put Candyman or something, I'm like, oh shit. But anyway, let's just get into this, and I'll be putting a link in the description of the video so you can go watch it yourself. Go show Nightmare Files channel some love. So, anyway, here we go.
Around one another, and sure we had both heard that sound. I then stuttered. Did you hear that? Phil nodded twice, so we immediately rushed to the nearest staircase.
Actually, all day today I've been trying to make an intro. 2 different intros, one for I always like his music. I've been trying to make one for my gaming. I started doing some gaming. I haven't uploaded, but I started doing it. And another for everything else.
This happened a few weeks ago. I was hanging out with my friend Dustin, and we decided to go explore this creepy old abandoned asylum. It was a huge building, about 3 stories high. We walked past the railroad. We then continued to the old asylum. As we walked to it, I looked up and my heart dropped. From the 3rd story window, I could see someone looking down at me and Justin. I stopped and he asked me what was wrong. I told him to look up in that window on the right.
Let's go investigate.
He looked up and saw it too. We continued to stare at it for about a few seconds before whoever or whatever it was moved out of sight. We then were deciding if we should still go in. We settled it. It was just some person trying to buy drugs or something. Drug deals and teens were always in there sneaking. We went past the trespassing signs and explored the first level of the building. There was a lot of broken glass and graffiti everywhere. There was this one that said, "I love it when they run." Don't get me wrong, that was kind of creepy, but obviously done as a joke. So we made it up to the 2nd floor, and basically the same thing there, except for an old elevator shaft that was cracked slightly open. Dustin turned his flashlight on and put it in the elevator. We saw a whole lot of electrical junk, some dead birds and animals. If that wasn't freaky enough, we also heard something walking above us on the 3rd story. My heart felt like it was about to explode. I had a bad feeling about this, and I told him we should leave. He said, "Nah, it'll be fine," and he started walking up to the 3rd story. I didn't want to be left alone near the spooky elevator, so I followed behind him. We had our phones out, taking pictures of all kinds of stuff on the previous floors. As we walked up the stairs, I swear we were being followed, and I told Dustin to hurry up. He went upstairs, and I wasn't far behind.
Dustin.
What I saw on the 3rd floor of that asylum will haunt me for the rest of my life. There were pentagrams and animals all over the place. It smelled awful up there. There were some rooms in the back of the corner. Keep in mind, this is the floor we saw that thing looking down at us from. We heard what sounded like whispers coming from the middle room. We got our phones out and started taking pictures of it. After I got about 2 or 3 pics, I saw a figure step out of the room. My heart was beating so hard I swear it had come through my chest. It was the same person that was looking from the window. Me and Dustin were freaking out, but we didn't dare move. About 10 seconds of staring, and it started sprinting at us, screaming. I took off in a sprint down the stairs, almost dropping my phone. I ran and jumped out of the 2-story window and landed in some brush. I got up and ran some more before crouching behind some old shed. Then it hit me. Dustin was still in there. I hadn't even noticed him when I ran down the stairs. I texted him and asked him where he was, but didn't reply. I sat crouched behind that shed for about 3 minutes before I saw Justin sprinting out of that house. I jumped from behind the shed and called his name. He saw me and screamed, "Run." He looked behind him. Then I looked behind him. He was being chased by 2 people. I took off down the road, heading for the railroad. Dustin caught up with me, and we didn't stop until we made it to the tracks. We jumped in a ditch beside the railroad and looked up to see the 2 people standing at the door of the asylum. They were watching us, but then turned and walked back inside.
Wow.
We ran up to the local
They
burger
just
place
don't give a fuck.
and sat down at a booth.
You just walk
Out
back
of
inside
breath,
like
we
this is
ordered
our
some Sprite
house.
and fries. While waiting for food, I asked him what happened after I ran. He said the guy chased him, and he ran down the stairs and saw me jump out of the window, and he ran to the elevator, where he found a small space behind some boxes to hide behind. He said after he sat there for a bit, the guy came down the stairs with another person. They were watching to see where we went. Then his phone went off because I texted him. He said they looked his direction and saw him. They then chased him down the stairs and out the door. And that's when I saw him and we ran. We didn't call the cops because we didn't want to get in trouble for trespassing. I don't know those guys, and I don't know what they were doing in that building, but needless to say, I don't think me or Dustin will ever go back there again.
That's why, like, anytime I've been in an abandoned building, I am not in there for long, and I do not go up multiple floors. Stay on the first floor. So
My name is Tom.
Run out if I...
In my spare time, my friends and I go and visit abandoned places around town. And after having exhausted all the most interesting ones, we regularly met up at our favorite one. It was a completely abandoned bank, left behind in the late 1990s, as a different headquarters was found for it. It was one of the coolest buildings because from the rooftop, I had the chance to get a beautiful view of Medina, my hometown in Italy. It was relatively easy getting in. The only issue was not getting spotted, because the building was regularly patrolled by armed police in bulletproof vests and sometimes even the army. In addition to all of that, the only entrance known to us at the time was right next to the busy road. On the evening of New Year's Eve 2019, Paul, Matt, and I decided to have one last look inside before the year ended. The weather was damp, and it was a thick fog, but we weren't too worried about it because it's common for this phenomenon to occur. As we approached the entrance, we saw a homeless guy with a long beard following us from behind. I didn't think much about it, as he was quite far from us. In order to stay safe, we always got in one at a time. Myself and Paul were waiting outside. After Matt had entered the bank's parking lot, I approached the gate, and just as I did so, the homeless man stopped in front of us. There was a moment of silence to start with, but then after that, the man took a sip of his alcoholic drink. He asked us, pointing at Matt on the other side of the gate,
"Is that your friend?"
His voice was deep and growling, and extremely intimidating. As an excuse, Paul replied, "Yeah, he just needed to use the toilet urgently." As he was saying this, Matt jumped over the fence again and joined us. The man then told us,
"No worry, guys. I'm an illegal one too."
Then he jumped over the gate and entered the building. Paul was too scared to enter the bank, so he left. Matt and I walked around there for an hour until we saw the guy leave the building. We then called Phil, another mutual friend we had, who agreed to join us. We hadn't much time left, so we went through the drill quicker than usual. After entering the actual building, we told Phil about what had happened. He was the oldest between us, and reassured us by telling us not to worry too much about it. To be sure, we kept our guard high anyway. As we progressed going up the floors, we started calming down, to the point where we even started making some small talk. Once we reached the last floor, we decided to take some pictures. The view from there was absolutely stunning. I took several pictures, and we were planning on staying there for another half hour until a bone-chilling door screeching open reached mine and Phil's ears. We both turned around to one another, and sure we had both heard that sound. I then stuttered, "Did you hear that?" Phil nodded twice, so we immediately rushed to the nearest staircase. Matt didn't realize what was going on, yet decided to follow us. I don't think I ever ran so fast in my entire life. While heading toward the stairs, I saw a partly hidden figure standing in the darkness. It looked like he was holding a metal rod or a bat. As we reached the 5th floor, we heard someone screaming and swearing from a few floors above us. After meeting up with the others, I noticed none of them had seen the guy with the metal rod. I decided not to tell them, so they wouldn't panic even more. I am glad I was fit enough to run down 9 stories and out of the building. And I don't dare think what would have happened to me and Phil if I didn't notice the suspicious sounds. That building was huge, so who knows?
See, as I just said, I never go up multiple floors in abandoned buildings. I don't even care about going to abandoned buildings now. Like, older, when I was a kid, thought it was interesting, but now
4 or 5 years ago in 2015,
I don't need that type
I
of
lived in a
stress in my
very
life.
tiny town, and it was known for drug activity. I spent most of my time outside as there was nothing really else to do. I was outside with my dog one day when I noticed a few people at what I believe used to be an old auto shop at one point, but clearly had been abandoned for a long time. I'm a very paranoid person and noticed a guy in his late 30s staring at me from the 2nd floor of the abandoned building. I was by myself, but I kept looking at my phone. This place was across the street from my house, and from the time I looked away, he ran out of the building and had moved to the end of my driveway. He was now at our mailbox just staring me down. At this point, I was a very shy teenager and hated confrontation, let alone talking. So I just tried to ignore him until he started saying something to me. I didn't hear him the first time and really wanted him to go away. At this point, I had picked up my dog and began walking away, but he called after me and moved up to our driveway even more. Me being the nice person, I turned around and said, "Excuse me." He almost seemed a bit slow, honestly. I remember him asking me my name and my age. Me being naive, I told him Sky, and I'm 15. Not gonna lie, he was very creepy and a lot bigger than me. I was dreading the conversation and was trying to keep the distance between us until he asked me if I wanted to hook up and go to his house. That's when my heart dropped and I got absolutely terrified. I made an excuse not knowing what to say, and I told him I had plans and immediately went back inside. I shut the door and my heart was still pounding. My mom walked in, seeing the fear in my face, and asked me what was wrong. I told her and she asked me a few questions about what he looked like because she was ready to call the cops. I broke down crying because I wasn't paying attention during the conversation. That made my mom angry as she grabbed the bat and took off outside. This man was halfway down the street by the time I told her, and she loudly said, "Stay away from my daughter." I didn't go outside by myself for the next 2 weeks. I was too paranoid. This man gave me an awful feeling, and I can only imagine how awful this could have been. I mean, I lied and told him that I was 15, and he still asked me to hook up. That, and him wanting me to go to his house alone, only means he was a creep trying to prey on young girls. I'm now 22, and still only 100 pounds, but no one will mess with me. I've grown a voice and will kindly tell anyone off. I'm still a very nice person, but I take my safety seriously.
And now she's a master Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That last one was kind of creepy, but I mean, I guess it's more. It'd be definitely a lot creepier for a woman or small children or I guess small men. But I mean, it would be creepy like if a guy just came up to me and was like, "Hey, you seem like a nice guy. You want to go back to my place for beers and stuff like that?" And I'm like, no, thank you. Because I guess me being me and knowing what I know, I wouldn't be that intimidated. I would be wary and I'll make sure I keep my eyes on him, make sure he don't pull out like a knife or a gun or something, and they try to force me to go. But I wouldn't be like she said. She was just scared, just staring there. So I'm guessing he said his name was said it was Sky. I don't know. I know a guy named Skyler, and people call him Sky. But I also know a few girls named Skylar, and people call her them Sky. So I guess it's kind of gender fluid, I guess name. But yeah. See, when I was looking, when I saw this come up recommended for me, I was like, oh, abandoned buildings would be interesting since I've been in a few abandoned buildings in my day. Always had a rule. If I went in a building with somebody, because I never went by myself. It was always with friends. If I went in a building and it was multiple floors, I do not go up multiple floors. One thing, I'm not worried about really. I wasn't really worried about ghosts or even like drug addicts or aggressive homeless maybe. I wasn't really thinking about that when I was a kid. I was thinking about, oh, if I go up these stairs and this building is old and condemned or whatever, and the stairs just collapse, I'm gonna be stuck up there. I gotta probably try to jump, and it'll be collapsing. It's all like rubble, and I can't jump because I hurt myself. Then I'm stuck, or then I have to try to find another way down. But unless it's like a building where they only have one stairwell, but which they should have multiple stairwells for, unless they have a fire escape. But you would think they have multiple stairwells for like in case of a fire or something. But yeah, I've never gone up multiple stairs, and that was usually the reason. Other reason was is if I looked around, I didn't see like another way, or I remember I just was like I might get stuck. Now thinking about it, I was like, well, if I went up and there was another stairway, it could be blocked, door could be locked, boarded up. The doors. I've been in places where the doors were like taken off the hinges, and they just boarded up the outside of the door, of the doorway. They used it. They just put a board, just nailed them in. So just to keep people from going in there. I guess they probably didn't. I don't know why they took the doors, but I guess maybe they really wanted to keep people out, and they didn't have a key to lock the door. So they just took the doors off and put up. You see those little thin pieces where people put up like in front of their stores, like window breaks or something like that, until they can repair it or get someone to repair it. And I see places. I remember one place I went in. I don't know what it was. It looked like a building that may have been an apartment complex and a store, or maybe it was an apartment complex or apartment building. Sorry, and then they turned into a store. I'm not sure, but it did have like shelves in it. Like maybe it was like an apartment building with kind of like a store at the bottom of it. I don't know, a gift shop or something at the bottom of it. But because it had like shelves that you would see in a store. Nothing was on the shelves, but it had shelves like that. And some of them were like one. I remember it was knocked over. Some of the others like they had been moved, and then some of them like they were in kind of like a row, kind of like it'd be like this and one like that, and another one was like that, kind of going back on one side of the room. It was like a big room, and I remember seeing exactly like this. Like it was some of the doors, and not all of them. In this one, some of the doors had been taken off the hinges, and they had been boarded up on the outside. And I saw that someone had kicked in the bottom part of the wood. That they put two big pieces of like flat wood, one on top and one on the bottom of the door. and someone kicked in the bottom part. And you could tell, like, because they kicked it in, and I kind of looked into the room, like from a distance, and you could see like where the wood had broken up, and it was inside the room. They kicked into the room, and I was like, didn't see anything move, nothing like that. Didn't see something like run past the door and did nothing really scary. It was just like, I mean, like I said, probably homeless, and they wanted to get in the room for shelter. Something like, plus it smelled like stuff was burning in there, or had been burning in there. So probably, like I said, this was in Chicago. So probably, a lot of homeless people do that where they'll break into a place, an abandoned place, and use that to get out of the elements. And they'll take, barrels or stuff in there, or steal like people's garbage cans. If they have like metal ones, take that, put in, and then throw stuff in the paper or whatever and burn it, and to keep themselves warm. But that I was like, when I saw that, and you could clearly tell somebody had kicked the wood in, I was just like, and I told my friend, I said, yeah, I think I had enough. It came on leave, and I just left. And he just followed me. It was him. I'm not gonna say their last name, but I'll say it was Brandon, and not this was after that. This is a year after I moved from, so because I knew multiple Brandons, but just in case that Brandon I'm talking about sees this, I'm not talking about you. I was older. I was like in the 5th or 6th grade. So it was Brandon, and it was another guy. I can't remember his name. Kyle, Ken, I can't remember. But yeah, we went up in that, and it was just, I felt weird, and then I felt nervous. I didn't feel like a sense of dread or anything like that. It just felt like, and when I saw that, I was like, someone's probably in here. Because I was thinking, no one's in here or whatever. Or even if someone is, I can stay close to the exit. Or I might go into another room, maybe. Like I've done that once. So I went into a place and it looked like it might have been a hospital or something at one point. And I went into a room. It was daytime, but it was like everything was boarded up, so it was pretty much pitch black. Well, kind of pitch black. You could see because we left the door open, and it looked very dark inside. And I remember going inside and then going into a room that was further inside the building. Just went in there, didn't go all the way into the room, kind of like stood in the doorway, and then was like, okay. And then kind of like I fulfill my thrill-seeking, I've gotten that adrenaline rush, a little bit, and I'm done. I don't need to go all the way upstairs. I have done things like going up a fire escape on an abandoned building, and one like I don't remember what it kind of it scares me just thinking about it because I'm afraid of heights. Afraid of heights to the point where it's like a phobia. And I remember, up to a certain point, like once I get to 10 feet, I can't really do it, but go any higher than that. But I went up and I was by myself. I went up a fire escape outside the building. And it was an old building. And I got up, I want to say, I don't know how many stories, but just thinking about the way the building looked now, maybe about 6 stories, maybe 7. And I got all the way to the roof, but on my way up, I think I might have been a little bit over halfway. I was going up, I was going up real slow, and it was like the thing shook, and I was like, and I thought the fire escape was about to collapse because it like shook, and it felt like any move I made, it was gonna fall. And I'm thinking to myself, I get down, but I couldn't get down because I was already past the halfway point. So, and I was too scared to go back down, so I went up. I went up, and I remember that when you got up, there was a ladder to go the rest of the way. And it's funny enough, it was a door on the top, like it was a door, and then the ladder on the side to go up to the roof. The door was gone, so you could look into the building, which was funny because it had no boards on that building. I remember these were on the part out the side I was at, because you could see it was daylight. You could see it was very bright in the building, which don't really mean anything, but I'm just saying it made me feel better because it wasn't just pitch blackness. And I went up on top of the building, and I got so fucking scared. That might be why I'm afraid of, I'm afraid of heights when I fell off that building at the time. But anyway, yeah, I was like, okay, maybe I can get down on another side of the building. That was the only side of the building that had a fire escape. So I'm like, wait, what? Because I guess they had the fire escape, like, the way it looked, it was like, I guess they were at the end of each hall. So on each floor, so you could run down the hall, and the door opened up onto the fire escape, rather than like a window or something like that on each side, whatever. Everyone can get to. It was just like come out in the hallway, run down the hall to the door, and this door leads to the fire escape. And I remember I had to go back down that same fire escape, and I was so scared. I was just slowly. It took me. I stood on that roof. I was building up the strength to go back down that fire escape probably for about 20, maybe 30 minutes. It might have been longer than that. I think it was like about 20, 30 minutes. Finally, I said, I can't stay up here. And I was in a place where it wasn't a whole lot of cars coming by, so I was like, and at the same time, I did not want to get my ass beat by my kids. It's like, I'm just going to risk it and go down. And I went down, and it didn't shake at all going down. Well, probably I was going really slow compared to when I was doing coming up. And I went real slow. And I remember the last bit, because there was a ladder you can go up to get to the first. It was a ladder because it was like, basically like the ground floor, and then the first floor, then the second floor. The second floor, and then it was a ladder that led down to the ground. So you had to climb up the ladder. I got to that floor, and I remember feeling it because it kind of shook slightly. I mean, like nothing like it did when I went up. But it just, I don't know if that was just me thinking it was shaking, or because I was like, that would be fucked up if I get to the end and then it all falls down on me. I just jumped over the railing. I jumped over the railing because it was like an old garbage can. It was like closed. And I landed on top of that, like, pooh, and I remember I kind of hurt my ankle. And because I remember when I jumped down there, I jumped off of that onto the ground. And as soon as I hit the ground, I started like limping. Oh, I never did anything like that again. That was not in a fire escape. I was like, that was stupid. But anyway, hope you all enjoy my reaction. I ain't gonna talk for that long, because the video was only like 12 minutes, 30 seconds, 33 seconds, something like that. So I didn't want to talk too long. It's a 30-minute long video, but thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed my reaction. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Be sure to subscribe if you're new here. Hit that bell. You'll be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.